أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the universe, the one that we come from, the one that we return to, the one we make sujood to. We give complete salutations to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We follow in his footsteps. We emulate his hadiths. We incorporate the sunnah into our daily lives. And we ask for him to intercede for us if we are short on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, so we can be planted into the fold of Jannah. Without further ado, I welcome everyone in this program. This is another Halaqa. This is another Ramadan Halaqa. This is part 2 of a series. Inshallah, all of this year, this Ramadan, we'll be doing a Ramadan-based Halaqa. So inshallah, this is just a part 2 of a continuation. Last week, if you were able to listen to this program, we actually started with the preparation of Ramadan. This week's agenda or this week's Halaqa program is going to be talking about more going deeper into the month of Ramadan. Here in the United States, in the date 4/24/2020, it is the first day of fasting. On behalf of me and my family and my complete Masjid Ibrahim, we wish everyone Ramadan Mubarak. So let's get started in today's Halaqa. First of all, in today's Halaqa, we have to understand that the essence of Ramadan is now upon us. And what that means is that Ramadan is something that Allah has already prescribed to us in the Quran. And He said in many places in the Quran, the one that comes right off the bat is the Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba alal ladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Allah is saying to the believers, fasting is enjoined upon you as it was enjoined upon those before you, and that you become God-fearing. And that what that implies is that building the taqwa inside of us to realize that God is watching us 24/7. Another ayah that we touched upon last week, and it's just a recap from last week, is Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'an. This month of Ramadan is actually a reflection for us to connect back with the Quran. And that's the most important thing that you can actually take. I know a lot of times the Muslim Ummah, we go into understanding that Ramadan is about fasting and it's about eating and iftars and so on and so. But the most important thing about actually the month of Ramadan is actually reflecting back and connecting with the Quran. The Quran itself can be talked ad nauseum about itself and the way the compilation was done, but at the essence of Ramadan, the most important thing you can take right now is to start reading it, start understanding it, start implementing it, incorporate it in your Isha and your Taraweeh at nighttime, and make this a virtue that this month you come closer to the fact with your Quran in hand. And two things right off the bat, and there's a lot of hadiths and there's a lot of rhetoric in the month of Ramadan, but what's most important for us to understand is that the Quran and your fasting can both intercede for you on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, because these two things you do for the sake of Allah. The reward for fasting is strictly with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will give you the reward for fasting. And the Quran itself is a journey for you, that on that day when you are standing, that the Quran intercedes for you. And as you read as much Quran in this livelihood, that's as much as you will be reading. And where you stop is where your place in Jannah will be, inshallah. So I urge every single one of you, everyone that's viewing this now or later, please make it a virtue that when you think of Ramadan, you think of Quran. Now, going forward in this month, right? There's three elements that I want to talk about in part two today. And it's very simple. I'm going to narrow it down. Like I mentioned, that in this month of Ramadan, there's so much to talk about. But in this part two, we're going to talk about three elements. The first element is it's a fruitful day in Ramadan. It's prescribed by Allah. So I'm going to walk you through an exact day of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking of us, to come closer to Him in a day of fasting. Number two is the removal of shaitan during this month. We all know, as we were children, as we grew up, that shaitan is locked up, and I'm going to stress a little bit about that, explain the whole virtue behind it, why that is the case. And when we say shaitan, that's a whole network of shaitan. Number three is the power and the value of astaghfar. So again, just in today's part two of Ramadan series, we're going to talk about these three elements. A fruitful day in Ramadan, as prescribed by Allah, the removal of shaitan during this month, and the power and the value of astaghfar. Now, let's get started right off the bat. A fruitful day in Ramadan is prescribed by Allah, right? This is something that is, first of all, it's a blessing for us to be living in this time period, in this Ramadan, and that is a gift in itself. That's something that we should make huge, shukr and thanks to Allah that we are actually in this fold, in this month of Ramadan. Just yesterday, a very close loved one of mine just, passed from this world. And, inshallah, towards the end of the segment, we'll make a dua for him. But what it is that Allah chooses who He wants at which time and which interval of His life. And in this regards, be blessed that you are now in the fold of in the period of Ramadan and being a believer. So that's a huge blessing within the fact that we are now in the month of Ramadan. Everything starts with niyyah. If you look back into the hadith books, it's all about niyyah. It's all about your intention. In this month, you make this intention that you'll be fasting all 30 days of this month, 29 or 30, obviously. But you make this intention that you're going to be fasting for this month. When you make this intention, right, it's a blanket intention. Some days you might want to make that intention, renew the intention, but you must start with the intention. And by the way, intention, you get 100% full credit. And if you carry out the deed and you carry out the fasting, you get that extra credit as well too. So avail the opportunity to go further in this month with your intention. Compounding good deeds. And this is something that's really nice to talk about since we're talking about a day in Ramadan. When you wake up for suhoor this month, right, wake up with a double niyyah. In the sense of you wake up, as soon as you wake up, you might have 30, 40, an hour before Fajr sets in, right? So at that time, what you could do is you could compound your niyyah on waking up, and you can actually wake up, and the first thing you do is you do wudu, and you go and you pray 2 rakat in tahajjud. Even though it's, yes, an hour away or 30 minutes away, you're praying right there. And right then and there, those 2 rakats will go a further distance for you, because that, many of the ulama say, is the tail end of the night anyway. So you wake up, you actually pray, and now you're woken up for suhoor, but now what you're doing is you're also playing tahajjud as well too, so you're getting another benefit in this while you're waking up. And then you can obviously do suhoor, which is sunnah, and then you can go into your fajr and so on. So speaking of the benefits of the hasana, there's so many benefits that we can obtain from this. And one of the benefits that I can think right off the bat is that everything is compounded. And when I say compounded, means that your nawafil are considered like fard. Your fard are multiplied by 70 to 700 times, in this fold of Ramadan. Please make it a task in this month to gain as much hasana as possible. And later in a few weeks from now, we'll talk about the night of Laylatul Qadr. But for now, let's start off this month by doing as much hasana as possible. Every good action, every good deed that you do, clear out your tongue, read as much Quran, make zikr with your family, make your prayers on time, do as much good as possible so you can eradicate all the wrongs and actually bless yourself to gain all this multitude of hasana that's in store for you. One of the best ways to actually go forward in this particular COVID-19 year is that you can actually pray Zohar at home this year. And what that means is that normally the Muslim Ummah prays Zohar 6 times a week, and then Friday we go for Jummah prayers. Well, this year you have the chance of praying Zohar 7 times a week. And when you're praying Zohar 7 times a week, make sure you pray your Zohar with a full 12 rakats. It's a Tirmidhi hadith stated that if you pray 4 rakats before your fard and 4 rakats after your fard, broken down in 4 sunnah, 4 fard, 2 sunnah, 2 nafil, you would pray a full 12 rakat for your Zohar prayer, your face will be spared from the hellfire. Again, a hasana on top of a hasana within the month of Ramadan. Please take this opportunity when this halaqa comes to an end. For those that are watching this live, make sure you pray your full rakat going forward. Now, here's the element in disguise in all this. At least start with the intention that you're going to do this for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be just for Ramadan. It's for the rest of your life you make this intention. And some days you may not be able to pray Zohar, the complete 12 rakats. You're busy at work or school or whatever. But the point is, you make that intention, and you make that intention with a Sahih Tirmidhi hadith that's stating the case. You make those full 12 rakats. Now, here is the most important part of your day. And let's do a complete walkthrough and we'll get to the most important part of the day. When you wake up with that compounded niyyah. You come into the Zohar time, where actually between Fajr and Zohar, a lot of people have to take care of work or school or whatever business they have to do. That's well and good. You do that with your best intention that you are fasting. So you watch your safeguard your tongue, you make sure that your word is your bond, and so on. So Zohar sets in, you pray your full 12 rakats. Asr comes in, you pray your Asr on time. The angels report back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that yes, the subject of mine prayed his Asr time on time. Now here's the most important part. When you're praying Asr, your mind is going to tell you that your next prayer is when you're going to be opening the fast. And that's a beautiful feeling to have, that now that, yes, only one more prayer to go. And believe it or not, you actually, after Asr, you're going to be eating first before you're going to be praying. So it's basically Asr is your last prayer at that moment in that day of fasting. Now, like I was saying, the most important part that I want you to take from this halaqa today, and it's a very serious and sincere gesture that I'm about to make with you, and I want you to truly reflect upon this. Here in the United States, when we open up, and I should say around the world, more or less, the middle and upper classes, what we have at the time of iftar is a plate that's already been decorated. Not even just a plate, a whole table of food. Sometimes multiple drinks. We have options to avail, and we have some picky eaters in our house, and we know, each family has that. So we have a table full of a lot of different offerings. Someone's eating one thing, someone's eating another thing, right? Well, here, like I've been saying, the most important thing is I want you to truly understand is that when we open our fast, and whatever the time may be, 7:53 or 8:02 or whatever the time is that there are a lot of people. Just today, this morning, after Fajr, I was going into the website, HHRD, Helping Hand Relief, and in that, I was looking at the East Africa flooding, and there's over 1 million people that are in that vicinity, and they don't have a 7:53 or a 8:03 or 8:02 when the food is going to be displayed in front of them. What I mean by that is that there are millions of people in this world. They don't have a plate in front of them at the time of iftar. And that is something very shocking for the Muslim Ummah, for us to truly realize and ask ourselves, what are we doing about it? Because we have that plate, we have those multiple drinks, but there are people in this world that are dying from starvation. They don't have running water, they barely have any clothing on, and they don't have that essence. So today, when you make that dua, and you're opening your fast, you actually say to Allah, Ya Allah, please make it a means for those people in this world that don't have any food, that are dying from hunger, dying from thirst. Ya Allah, you give them the opportunity for them to carry on and provide them some type of provision. And please visit the websites like hhrd.org, and they're doing tremendous work there. If you can't do anything for them, make sure you drop at least $1 a day. And some cases, whatever you can do, you make sure you do that, because if you can eat comfortably tonight, there are people in this world that cannot. They're younger than you and they're starving, and it's our responsibility as an ummah to help those people out. in the whole day and coming to an end after iftar, we have a wonderful program that's running with, alhamdulillah, many of my students. And I would really like for you to come back to the same channel, save the ID numbers and everything. And from 9 to 10, we have a program where we have, Muslim Ummah. Every kid, mashallah, is under the age of 18, and they're reciting the Quran, and they're doing, the English translation each and every night. You want to obtain the hasanah this month, because we're still talking about the full day of Ramadan. You actually go and you try to take as much from it. And in that, they're reading the Sahih International, and all you have to do is just put it on and listen. That's all you have to do. Once it comes to an end, one of the students, does the azan, and that's time for you to get up and pray your Isha. And I urge each and every Muslim male that's listening to this, especially in this COVID-19 period, is to become the imam of your house. Become the leader of your house. Pick up the mushaf. Pick it up and say, Ya Allah, I'm going to do, 2 rakats or 4 rakats or 6 rakats or whatever your capacity that you can do with your family. Stand your children with you. And if you are blessed to have multiple children, male children that are over, a certain age, obviously, and you can actually run a khutbah in the house, a Jummah khutbah within your own family, by all means, talk to your local imam, set it up, and go forward in this virtue. And start with your family. We all know sadaqah starts with the family. We all know that us males, we have this responsibility to be the head of the households. And I urge each and every male that's listening to this, make sure that you are leading the pack, because it's about time you get up. It's about time you put that remote down. It's about time you stop watching all those drama and all those videos and everything. And you say to yourself, Ya Allah, yes, you've granted me a family, and it's my responsibility to move them forward. And let the chips fall where they may. If the family members ridicule you or laugh at you, that's all fun and games. At the end of the day, they love you, and you need to become that pillar for them in the family. Moving forward, the second element in today's halaqa is the removal of shaitan during this month. And what that means is that the complete network of shaitan has been chained. And that is a blessing. And that's a blessing in disguise for us to understand that for 11 months, shaitan did a number on us. He wound us up. He made us commit all these wrongs. And now, since he's locked up, his whispers are further away. But some of us have this problem that those whispers are deep in our DNA that we need to start eradicating. And the best way you can start eradicating is you simply start with dhikr of Allah. You start with a tasbih. You start with subhanallah. You start with praying your prayers. You start with reading the Quran and start clearing out your speech. And when we all know this hadith that Allah says that that Rasul Sallam said this hadith, that if you can guard me 2 things, your tongue and your private parts, both organs, you will get Jannah on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And what that means is that you simply just watch your tongue and obviously your private parts, and you use them wisely and you go forward. And this is the best month to do it, because shaitan and all his network and all the smaller shayateen, they are all locked. And in this regard, you can make the most of this. The gates of hell are locked and the gates of heaven are open. That is a mercy that Allah has given us. And when He is saying the gates of heaven are open for us, it's an invitation for us to land ourselves into Jannah. Because obviously we know that the reward of fasting is with Allah. The heaven itself is open for us to take this advantage. In fact, we all know the door, Ar-Rayyan, is made for us, people who will fast. And Allah will give the reward for those people. And the doors of hell are closed. The fight is within you. Again, keep this in mind. Shaitan on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah will whimper out, and he will say, well, I didn't force you to do it. I didn't make you do it. You did it by yourself. And that's where the dilemma will fall on us, that we will say, yes, it was I who did it. And this is where you own up and you say, Ya Allah, come clean, and say, Ya Allah, you know what? I had a bad year. I had a bad decade. I had a bad life. Ya Allah, please perfect my life. Ya Allah, I don't know when I'm going to go. And my date of death is hidden from me, which is another mercy. And that mercy is that try your best to go forward in your life. There was a very authentic hadith where a person would actually wind up killing 99 people. He turns to one person, he says, do you think that God will spare me? That person says no. And then he winds up killing that person, is the 100th person. Then he goes to the next person and he goes, you think God will spare me? I killed 100 people. And that person, being with the hikmah and the wisdom, said, listen, just go to a different place and ask for Allah's forgiveness. And lo and behold, that person does take those steps and he dies in that walk. And the angels come and they're confused. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stretches the land so that the place that he was headed towards was closer. And the places that the 100 people that he took lives from was a distant memory. So again, Allah is Rahim, Allah is Ghaffar, Allah is forever forgiving. All you have to do is show the initiative and get up and do something, especially in this time when shaitan is out the window. Now, in this month, you will see, or in the past years, you have seen in the masjid, you see the weakest Muslims, drag themselves into the masjid. What that means is that each and every mu'min, every believer has this inside of them that yes, they can do this. And when they can do this, what I mean is that they can take their life forward and do more hasana as much as possible. So every single person, like I was mentioning last week, you have a starting point. And in that starting point, you know where you're headed. And where you're headed means you know how much more you can improve on. If it's your tajweed, if it's your salah, if it's your wudu, if it's your recitation of the Quran, whatever it may be, you have to become strong. And do not ridicule the ones that are showing face in the month of Ramadan. Even in your house, they're doing something positive. Let that be a means for them. And I'll say this very sincerely. There are so many Muslims in this world that were, a few years back or a decade ago, they were on the other side of humanity and doing all the wrongs. And something happened where Allah chose that person and flipped them around and made them a token and a vessel to do something for the sake of Allah. We have so many examples. The history books are filled with so many people. Even Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Furqan, He will take your bad deeds and He will flip them over. But you have to make the initiative. You have to say to Ya Allah, yes, I will turn over a new leaf. And what better time than the 9th month of Ramadan? This year, you say to yourself, okay, you know what? There's no Imam telling me. It's me, and I know what I need to get, and I need to get going, and you become that strong individual. You cherish the month with tranquility. You start out with this peace of mind that, Ya Allah, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing all this for your sake. And that's where the peace and the stability and all this tranquility comes inside of you, that you can say, Ya Allah, bless me in this month of Ramadan. You ask for forgiveness. And that ties into actually the third portion of today's Halaqa, is the power and the value of astaghfar. Brothers and sisters, listen very closely what I'm about to say. If you leave this month without asking for Allah's forgiveness, it was the worst thing you ever did in your lifetime. And I'll say it again. If you left this month without asking for Allah's forgiveness, it is the worst thing you did to yourself. In fact, there's narrations and hadiths that say a person is doomed if he did not ask for Allah's forgiveness. We do not have to wait for the night of power, Laylatul Qadr, to make that dua, Allahumma innaka afuwwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Do not wait. Start today. Get it on the tip of your tongue to say that. Whatever dua you can perfect. Adam al-Islam's first dua that came out, رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Oh Allah, we've wronged us. We've wronged ourselves. Ya Allah, if you don't forgive us, no one will forgive us. No one will intercede. No one will help us. And you feel this, that the power and the value of astaghfar is within you, but you need to make the action privately, in the middle of the night. You say to Ya Allah, you know what? I made a mistake. My bad, my wrong. I did this wrong. I hurt that person. I did this. I cheated. I stealed. I backbited. I didn't pay my zakat. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And the list goes on and on and on. And Allah knows each and every one of you better than you know yourself. But this is the time for you to come clean. This is the part where you clear out your heart. The very authentic narration with all the black dots that are on the heart, we need to remove all those black dots off of our hearts. And this is the time, brothers and sisters, to do it. Say to yourself, Ya Allah, one astaghfar from the bottom of your heart. Maybe that's the last word that you utter out of your mouth. Our beloved Prophet Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said astaghfar 100 times a day. 100 times a day. And we feel this agony and pain that we can't even say it 30 times. We need to come back and say to Allah, Ya Allah, I will say astaghfirullah. I want each and every person that's listening right now to say this with me at least 3 times, and hopefully it will instill something inside of you. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And I want you to feel what you did wrong in the eyes of Allah watching with that taqwa, so you become a muttaqi. A muttaqi is a one that establishes taqwa inside of them. And I want you to feel that inside of them. And every single time in your life, when you say astaghfirullah, you pause and you think that, yes, I say astaghfirullah because back in 1996, I did something wrong. Or back in 2002, I did something wrong. Whatever you can remember what you did wrong, you say, Ya Allah, astaghfirullah. And you say astaghfirullah for the evil deeds or the evil sins, I would say, that you don't even remember that you did. And you say, Ya Allah, for a blanket of my life, for all the wrongs that I did, all the people that I hurt, all the backbiting, all the lying, whatever the case may be, you say, Ya Allah, please forgive me. You say it sincerely. The power and the value of astaghfirullah is something that we can cherish because it's given a ticket. I say to my students all the time, it's not the sin that defines who you are. It's what you do after the sin that defines who you are. Think about that for a second. The sin you'll do. Shaitan told you, go do X, Y, and Z, and you did it and you forgot. But what you do after the sin actually shows your merit and shows because we have an innate nature to sin. But what we do after the sin defines on how we go forward in our life by saying, Ya Allah, you know what? I messed up. And do not be of those people that are standing on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah and you are hiding what was undisclosed. You say, Ya Allah, yes. Because when your evil sins and are shown in front of you that you did X, Y, and Z, all you can say at that moment in time is, Ya Allah, please forgive me. Ya Allah, please forgive me. And you start this journey of astaghfirullah in your life today, going forward for the rest of your life. Eliminate all the distractions that we created over the years. We have turned Ramadan into festivals. We take out the actual reading of the Quran and put that aside and talk about food and social engagements and this and this and this. And I'm guilty of this myself. The Muslim Ummah was carried away in the month of Ramadan. Carried away. We were talking about other things as opposed to what we should have talked about. Like I mentioned earlier, Shahru Ramadan alladhi undila fihi al-Quran. Quran is center stage, not the food, not the iftars. And this is the month that you say to yourself, yes, there's no more social gatherings. None of that is taking place. This is the time you will show face to Allah how you took this month. Either you are those people that really felt it, that yes, I need to do this for the sake of Allah, and let me pick up that book of hadith. Let me pick up the Quran. Let me do something so Allah knows I did it. Do not let this month pass by your act of just fasting. Ramadan is not just fasting. Ramadan is a purification for yourself so that you can go forward, because this is the month of training and you can eradicate all the wrongs in your life. And inshallah, that will help you as you go forward in your life. This was the reset button, and perhaps this COVID-19 pandemic was a blessing for us to press that refresh button in the month of Ramadan to actually see where we stand today. And inshallah, in the year 2021, when Allah will grant us more life and we will be in Ramadan, we will be back in our masjids meeting and socializing. We will say, yes, in the year 2020, that Ramadan that I did at home with my family, I became the imam at the end of that month. And I read the book that month. I read the whole complete Quran in English, in a language I understand. And I know, 30 more hadiths that I knew. And that's your test. Do not let this month just be about fasting. Do not just sleep it out. Do not just, miss all the opportunities that are headed your way. And I'll end on the power of value of astaghfar is to basically own up to your past negatives. And this is a self-reflection. And this is something that is very dear to Allah, because if you humble yourself in front of Allah, Allah will say, yes, this subject of mine humbled himself. This subject came through. This subject asked for astaghfar. This subject tried his best. The Muslim Ummah is not expecting the complete Ummah to become, muftis overnight. We are not expecting that. What we are expecting in return is for you individually, you know where you stand, and you know how much room of improvement you can go forward. If you can and you feel the ability that now is the time for you to perhaps grow a beard and follow the Sunnah, by all means, this is your moment to do it. In fact, when you do come out of this lockdown and you do meet your friends, coworkers, and they see you with the beard on, perhaps that will be a blessing that you can go forward. And obviously that's for the male folks. For the women folk, if you can actually incorporate deen with your children in storytelling or whatever the case may be, that itself, you are blessed with this time. There's no more running around and dropping them in schools. There's no more after school programs. All of that stuff has been canceled, and it's a blessing for us to do. And you try. Even if the kids don't sit and they don't listen, you just try. You can say to Ya Allah, I tried my best. And that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. The act of asking for forgiveness, and keep in mind, this is very important, the act of asking for forgiveness is a good deed. And sometimes we forget that. So when you say, Ya Allah, please forgive me, that itself is a good deed of you just saying that because you're making that supplication. Now going forward, what's very important to understand is the quality over quantity. You don't want to do a billion things and they're just all downhill. You want to put effort into it. You want to do it with sincerity. Whatever program that you want to listen to, you make the time and effort, you block out everything and you say, there's a billion Zoom programs going on. Let me take my time to listen to it without any distractions. Consistency is what Allah loves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us over and over again in the fold of Islam, do something positive for the sake of Allah and keep it at a consistent basis. It might be something small or it might be something big. You know yourself best, but keep a consistency element. And remember, you're doing all this for the sake of Allah. You're not doing this to show off. And I fight this dilemma sometimes because I'm usually in a lot of public speaking, and I fight this dilemma and I keep reminding myself I'm doing this for the sake of Allah and I don't need to be in any fame. I'm not a person that likes titles. I'm just a person that wants to do this for the sake of Allah so that when I do pass from this world, I can say to Allah, Ya Allah, I tried my best pushing this deen forward. And alhamdulillah, I am so blessed that you used me as a vessel, that you made me a loudspeaker so I can convey the message. And I want to always incorporate by saying that if I say anything wrong, that's shaitan's whispered in my DNA. And if I say anything right, that was the hikmah and the beauty of my teachers and every, a passage of the ulama that have taught from generation to generation, starting with our beloved Prophet onward, is their talk. It's not my talk. One of my most beautiful teachers told me, said, let the Quran do most of the talking. So alhamdulillah, in this time of mercy, in this time of rahmah, try your best. Do it purely for the sake of Allah. Next week, inshallah, we'll go into part 3. And that's going to, so this halaqa today, أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله وسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. So this halaqa comes to an end today. Next week, inshallah, will be part 3, and it'll be more enticing because we're going to go in depth week by week in this month of Ramadan. At this time, I want to basically make a dua to end the session. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma a'izzat al-Islam wal Muslimin. Allahumma ani ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadak. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير ربنا واجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذرياتنا أمة مسلمة لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا اغفر علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا للقوم الكافرين رب الناس والشافي أنت شافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسولك ولا تخرجنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين ربنا آمنا فاغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عني ربنا إننا آمنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا Oh Allah, grant us your mercy, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant us your protection during this fitna, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give us calmness as we face this trial, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bring us closer to you, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask for your forgiveness, Allah. Oh Allah, we ask for your rahmah, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask for you to safeguard us, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bless us with this month of Ramadan that's in our capacity, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, make us connect with the Quran, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, accept our qiyam, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, accept our siyam, Ya Allah. Accept all our ibadah this month, Ya Allah. Accept our deeds, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make us reflect with our astaghfar this month, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, grant us nearness to you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make us closer to you, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, save us from this latest pandemic that we're dealing with, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, save our children, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, safeguard our parents, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, safeguard the ummah at large, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, safeguard all of humanity, Muslims and non-Muslims, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bring the words of Allah and God to the non-Muslims' tongues, Ya Allah. Make them realize that why they're here in this world, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give cure to all those that are dealing with the coronavirus or any other issues at this time, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we seek your maghfirat, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we seek your mercy, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we seek your love, Ya Allah. For those that are suffering, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give them strength, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give them patience, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give them full recovery, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, strengthen their immune system, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, protect each house from this azab, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, protect the family members who are dealing with those who are affected, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant shifa to those who are sick, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant our parents good health, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant our spouses good health, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant our children the best of health, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, cure our family members, oh Allah. Oh Allah, we have so many people in our community who need your shifa, Ya Allah. You grant them shifa, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant Brother Vakar complete shifa, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, grant his family strength to help them side by side, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, there's so many more people in this community that are going through illnesses. Ya Allah, you help them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all the people in our ummah that are going through it, Ya Allah, you help them. Oh Allah, grant us all sabr, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, make matters easy for us at home, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bring love and unity in this month of Ramadan, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bring joy with the family, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bring our spouses together, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, bring our siblings together, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, strengthen the bond with all generations in the house, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give us good news from family that lives afar, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, protect the ummah, oh Allah. Oh Allah, protect all of humanity, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, lift this pandemic, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, for those that have passed away due to this illness, you grant them Jannatul Firdaus, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, you grant them the highest of Jannatul Firdaus, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give the remaining family members complete sabr in these pressing times, oh Allah. Oh Allah, lift this azab over us, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, for all the family members and all the people who have passed, Ya Allah, you open up their graves, Ya Allah. You open up their graves with coolness from Jannah, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, remove all their sins, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make them answer the questions with ease, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, reunite us with our loved ones in Jannah, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, be happy and pleased with all that we're doing in this month of Ramadan, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we promise to be better Muslims, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we promise we'll go to the masjid as the masjids open back up, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, please lift this punishment, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we're deeply sorry for all our mistakes, all our misdeeds, and our backbiting, and our problems, and our tribulations, and our unfairness in this world, Ya Allah. We've learned our lesson, Ya Allah. This refresh button, Ya Allah, is a token of mercy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please safeguard us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, safeguard the non-Muslims, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, show us the path so we can come closer to you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, deepen our understanding, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, make us turn back to you with more affection, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, spare us this trial, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, protect our families, protect our young, protect our old, protect our women, protect our wives, protect our children. Ya Allah, protect our neighbors, our Muslims and non-Muslim neighbors. Ya Allah, make matters easy for us all, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we plead to you and you alone only. Ya Allah, we have hope and mercy. We have hope in your mercy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we sincerely ask for your forgiveness. And for those that have passed away, I had a very dear loved one of mine, my khalu, which is referred to as my mother's sister's husband, Sayyid Shah, actually passed away yesterday. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And for him, I want to especially read Allahumma ighfir li hayyidina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghaibina wa saghirina wa kabirina wa dhakrina wa unsana. Allahumma man ahyaytahu minna fahyayhi ala al-Islam wa man tawaffaytahu minna fatawaffahu ala al-Iman. Oh Allah, grant my beautiful, beautiful khala, my beautiful aunt, sabr in this most pressing time right now, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, my cousins, Talha, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you give them complete sabr right now, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, my two sisters, Ya Allah, Maryam and Hajra, Ya Allah, you give them complete sabr, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, they've lost their father, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you make them the means of sadaqah jariyah for him to obtain Jannatul Firdaus, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, give the complete family sabr, Ya Allah. My mother's overseas, Ya Allah. You give her complete protection from this COVID-19, Ya Allah. She's sitting with all her family members, Ya Allah. Give them complete protection, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, please forgive us, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, if we ever wronged anyone, Ya Allah, please place a softness in their hearts, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, if Sayyid Shah did anything wrong, Ya Allah, you actually forgive him, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, if he owed anybody any money, Ya Allah, please let Talha be the means to clear all any debts and loans, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, let it be that you provide your rahmah to their family, Ya Allah. You give them sabr in this most pressing time, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, as you mentioned in our hadiths, that the people who die from these illnesses will be the people that are considered as martyrs and shaheed, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you make my uncle, my beautiful uncle, Sayyid Shah, a martyr of Islam, a person who was shaheed in this, and all the other people that have died in this COVID-19, Ya Allah, you fulfill that promise, Ya Allah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد ربنا وتقبل دعاء ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Jazakallah all for taking the time to listen to this halqa. I do apologize, I did go over, but it's all coming from the heart. Inshallah, I'll see you next week in part 3 of this Ramadan series. Be safe, be steadfast, and enjoy Ramadan. Alhamdulillah.